On today's video, we'll be talking about a very important topic regarding HVAC and heat calls. So you can see here, I have my temp gun. My temp gun is giving me a reading of 32, 31 degrees, whereas my multimeter is giving me a reading of 47 degrees. Now the question is, that's at least a 12, 13, 14 degree split. Which one is giving me the more accurate reading? When you're dealing with heat or HVAC calls, you're going to want to use the multimeter method. Reason being is because your multimeter has a temp probe. The temp probe is actually giving you the reading of the ambient, or rather here in this case, the temperature of the air that's coming out of the vents. Whereas the temp gun is giving you a reading of what the surface is that the laser is actually touching. What I mean by that is my temperature coming out of this vent is not 33 degrees. The vent itself is 32 degrees right now. So here, just for demonstration purposes, to kind of get you in the mindset or the understanding of the difference between the two. So here I have my temp probe, and right now my temp probe is basically just picking up the ambient temperature around this probe right here. We're reading an ambient temperature of 62 degrees. That's what the temperature is around ambient, around, this is basically room temperature. Now, my gun, or the temp gun, really doesn't have a way to determine what the ambient temperature is. And what I mean by that is it only has the ability to give me a surface temperature. Now, if you were to look at the two, 62 versus 94, that's a significant split in temperature differentials. I mean, right now I could tell you standing in this room, it's not 94 degrees. It's on the cool side, a little bit more brisk. So 62 is more the proper reading. That's because the temp gun was not designed to give you ambient temperature. It was only designed to give you surface temperature. So whatever this laser, if you see here, whatever that laser touches is what the actual temperature of what the laser surface is touching is. The reason this is important to note is because if you do get an AC call where the unit or the house has been vacant, especially when you're dealing with houses that have the ductwork that's running in the attic, such as, you know, your furnaces, you're going to want to take into account when you're taking your reading, you want the reading of the actual air temperature coming out of your vent. Whereas if the unit's been vacant, if the house has been vacant, it's the middle of the summer, and you're trying to take a temperature reading using your temp gun, there's going to be a significant difference because it's going to take a few hours for that vent to actually start to cool off before it actually drops to a proper reading. So if you're going to take a reading of your temperature regarding ambient air here at your vent or at the return, the one tool that is more efficient and effective and is for that specific purpose is going to be your temp probe from your multimeter. If you don't have a multimeter, you can buy those little pocket thermostats and you can kind of just sit it up there. As long as it's picking up the actual temperature of the air that's coming out or the ambient air, that's what you're trying to account for whenever you're using your superheat or super cool method, especially when you're dealing with not only the temperature here inside of the house, but also at the evaporative coil and the condensing unit. And then you want to factor in the ambient air, what the temperature is outside. So all of these will play a significant effect as far as how you're going to properly charge and diagnose your system. This video was a help. If it was informational, please subscribe.